Hi everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for coming out today. I'm Mason and this is Natalie. We're both going to be doing this presentation for you today. So we are both second-year graduate students in the school psychology program. It's a 3-year specialist program. There's several other first years in here. And Megan, who's our assistant today, she's also a second year. So if you want to check out more information on that, just search School Psychology WCU. It's a really great program. So we are going to give you a talk on autism and working specifically with Full Spectrum Farms. It's a nonprofit organization in Cutlery. So your teachers probably told you all about that. So first of all, I just want to make sure that everyone checked in. Is that right? Okay, cool. And so what you'll see on your desk here is a pre-test and a post-test. And this is just to gauge sort of what you learned or how much you learned from this training. So if you could go ahead and fill it out, make sure that it's the side with the star. Okay.
And you don't need to put your name or anything on it. We'll ask you to fill out the back of it when we're done. So just the first page.
Do you by chance have a spare pen?
Yes.
There you go.
Does anyone else need a writing utensil?
All right. Is everyone done? Show me your hand if you're not done.
Awesome. And then again, we'll do the back after.
Yeah, we're going to do the back after this session. So you'll also see some notes, a note handout that we gave to you. This is just sort of, it's not really guided, but it just gives you some notes for Refraining, so you can write down whatever you like. I would encourage you to write down stuff that is really going to be like helpful in practice rather than just rote like terminology and stuff like that. Just write down stuff that you might use for reference later when you're really working with individuals with autism. So I'm going to hand it off to Natalie. She's going to start off here.
Okay. So first things first, just to get a little bit of the stuff out of the way. When you're at the farm, we want to make sure that we meet certain expectations and represent Western well, and represent our programs well. So I'm just going to go over some things that may seem like common sense, but there of course has been some problems in the past, so we'll go through these pretty quickly. Okay, so when you work on the farm or work with clients, you want to make sure you're dressing comfortably because I mean, it actually is a farm. There's 23 acres of property, and they have an organic garden that they work in, but also we want to make sure that everything's covered, you can bend down, and things don't pop out, so just keep in mind what you wear. A name tag. I know us grad students are given name tags, but actually, the first room you walk into at the farm is a big table, and clients usually do crafts there. In the middle, there are name tags. So just grab yourself a name tag, write your name on it. that's really important for just, there's different clients and staff members every single time you go. I never see the same set of people. Introducing yourself. So people are also there working. Clients usually come or have to come with a caregiver. So just introduce yourself if you don't know anyone to the caregiver. Introduce yourself to the client. I know a lot of us, I mean, I don't have extensive work experience with clients with autism, but we had Starlight Night this past weekend, and even just, I was interacting with a client who was nonverbal, and even just going up to him and saying, "Hi, my name's Natalie," that's engaging, and they can understand that. So that's helpful. Of course, Erin, who's the farm manager, she'll be there sometimes, very sweet person. Definitely introduce yourself to Erin. Be on time, be early, 5 minutes early always. If you haven't been to the farm yet, it may be a little tricky to find at first, mostly because like GPS signal and everything kind of cuts off. At least I have AT&T and it's not very good over there. So just make sure you're early and on time and there when you need to be there. Okay, checking in and out. So at the farm, they have a composition notebook, or there's usually a sign and posted on the chalkboard, whatever board they have up here. It's really important you log in when you're there, not only for credit that you may be getting for a class, but also because some funding for the farm depends on how many volunteer hours they have. So make sure you're just being honest and checking in and checking out when you're there. Being respectful, I'm not going to say much about that, just be respectful, we're adults. No cell phones. This has been a problem in the past. When you're there, you aren't going to be there for long periods of time, probably an hour to 2 hours at a time unless you're working an event, maybe 3 hours. Just put your phone away. We shouldn't see them out. You shouldn't be checking to see when your time's over. Not a really time to socialize or catch up on text messages. If you're volunteering with a friend, just kind of hold your conversations until later or the next day. We really want to focus in on working with the clients or working on the task that we're given when we're there. It can be really distracting and actually very difficult and disturbing for people with autism to have extra stimuli going on around them. And we'll talk more about that.
Right, and sometimes it may not seem like they want to engage with you a lot, but they just engage differently than we might expect. So just make sure to refrain from using your phone, and it's just really they notice that even if they don't seem like they're engaging with you directly, they still notice that you're not interested if you're on your phone. So we'd encourage against that.
And kind of going with that is refraining from loud conversations. So I won't even really talk this loudly. I tried to talk this clearly when I was there. Today, actually in class, we were in a neuropsych class, and it was really interesting. We watched a short video snippet, and people with autism, actually their neurotransmitters and synapses are not pruned as they get older. So they just have all this sensory overload, actually biologically, that we can see going on. So when there's those extra noises or lights or everything, it's just 10 times worse for them. So just try not to be loud and horse around and goof off. And if someone says something to you, then just, apologize. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what are some of the volunteer options at the farm? A great thing about Full Spectrum Farms and working with Erin, who's the farm manager, is she's super flexible. If you think you have an interest or a hobby that would be helpful, or you want to share with a client or bring it to the farm, talk to her. She probably will be open to you hosting a workshop or something. This semester, we are starting drop-in times, and they've done this before. As of right now, they're on Tuesday afternoon. We're going to pass around a sign-up for next Tuesday. They're going to start next Tuesday, and we'll be working on big projects on the farm. Next week, I think we're going to work on the organic garden. And during this time, clients will be invited to come. It doesn't mean they'll always come, so it may just be students working together, working with grad students, working with caregivers or farm staff. But no, it is a time when clients can come. So that will have possibly a component of direct client experience. Yes, more on that later. Farm work. So there's animals on this farm. You will hear the chickens when you pull up. So, I mean, you don't have to do the dirty jobs, but there's some caring for a lot of the stuff around the property, just doing odds and ends, anything that's helpful. Everyone just has a really positive attitude. It's not like every time you go you're going to be given some gross job and that's going to be your volunteer experience. So just know there's sometimes you'll get a weird job, but it's helping.
It's all
helping them a little
helpful,
bit.
so.
Big event. So like I said, Starlight Night was a big fundraiser they had this weekend. I'm not sure if they met their goal, but a lot of people showed up despite the rain, so that was really encouraging. There's Trunk or Treat, which is a really fun time to volunteer, and if your professor lets you count it as credit, or if you're just interested, go on by. It's this year I believe it's at 4:30, October 26th, but don't take my word on that. From 4:30 to 5:30, it's open to clients in the community that have autism, so it's a little more quieter. Basically what you do is you can host a trunk. So you kind of back up your car. Last year we did it as a cohort.
Yeah.
You do it in groups. Do you dress up, have candy, but they also ask that you have a simple game. So some people had like fishing for the candy. Some people had a simple beanbag thing just to kind of interact. And that's actually the time where the most clients are there, because they'll come with their families for candy. So if you want to have that interaction, and it's just really all ages come. The farm serves all ages, but specifically at that event you'll see a very wide variety of people on the spectrum, and it's really fun.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's easy volunteering, but it also is a good time for like interaction. So.
The Winter Gala, I don't know much about that, but that's another fundraising event. There's a couple in the spring as well, and as information comes out, we'll let you know through email or the website. We're going to keep that up to date this year. Okay, pet therapy. This is something I really liked last year. Aaron, the farm manager, has a dog who unfortunately has not passed the service dog test yet, but he is on his way. But they do have some dogs, the caregivers, and people around the community actually will let people borrow their dog for weekly, sometimes twice a week walks on the greenway. So as we know, like animals can be used in therapy or pet therapy. So they take, usually Wednesday mornings I think is a day they do walks on the greenway. We unfortunately have class, but they're always looking for volunteers to come help with that.
Did I give a time notice?
I believe it's 10:30 right now. Yeah, it was in our class last year too. We're trying to get them to add a time or switch the time, but
Yeah, and I'll keep up with Erin on that. Maybe she'll have another time.
So a lot of things go on behind the scenes. Like I said, this is run mostly by like donations. So there's like admin work. Erin has an office at the house, and just simple things with like coordinating volunteers. I'm really bad with electronics, but Mason can do some things on the website and YouTube, and we're gonna upload this training.
Yeah.
Simple things like that. She always has something she can assist on, and she, honestly, if you have an idea, she's so sweet, you should probably just let you try it.
Yeah, volunteer to do flyers or like make a small promotional video or something like that. Just talk with her about whatever your skills are.
A lot of the stuff that goes on at Full Spectrum Farms occurs in the evenings. So their caregivers may work during the day and they can come with their client. And so they have craft nights, that's a big focus on the farm. They have pottery. They have, the other day they were making bath bombs. Just different things for the clients to kind of experience and learn new skills. And those dates and times vary. We're still trying to get it nailed down, but that's another time where you guys can come and help out. Okay, expectations. Like I said, keeping the noise level down, speaking slowly and clearly. Be there when you need to be there, and if you say you're going to show up, make sure you show up. I always email Erin. Erin has other jobs in this too. This isn't her full-time job, even though, boy, she probably works full-time on it. But just making sure you're there when you said you're going to be there, confirming through, I know for drop-in times you'll be working mostly with Jesse and Lori, who are also second-year grad students, coordinating with them. Something to keep in mind is Full Spectrum Farms operates on the same like closure schedule as Jackson County Schools, so just make sure we try to send text messages, but make sure if Jackson County Schools is closed, then Full Spectrum Farms is closed. Okay, so that sign-in form at the physical site, you guys also may have your own sign-in forms or our form. Erin's not always there, so if you need a signature or something, coordinate with her. She's pretty good about, she'll meet you somewhere and sign the form, but try to make it pretty convenient for her because she's tracking down lots of volunteers. Sometimes the rooms can get a little crowded, which is great. We have a lot of people volunteering. If the room is super crowded, you sometimes feel like awkward. Like the clients with autism probably feel 10 times more awkward and smushed. So go to another room, ask what you can do, something different to help. If you feel crowded, then the clients are definitely feeling overwhelmed and crowded. The same thing with the phone. It's kind of awkward to work with a new population that you may be scared or don't want to. I know at first I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess up. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I going to hurt this person? And just the worst thing to do would be to sit and stare and then kind of disengage and play on your phone. Ask questions. I know I ask a lot of questions. I still ask a lot of questions. But just remember not to sit and stare. That can be really intimidating.
Yeah, and just as a little tip, encourage the small stuff. Engaging and interacting with others may seem natural to like us as neurotypical people, but with a person with autism, every step is in interactions, especially social interactions, is a big step. So just encourage those small steps, like, thank you for talking with me about this, thank you for doing this piece of whatever, the puzzle or the whatever task you're doing. So just celebrate like behavior-specific praise always. But those small steps really do count, and it really helps keep them engaged. So
yeah, just like the little things. Like an example from this weekend was the name. That's how I knew they have name tags in the middle of the table. Was a client who was nonverbal just practicing writing his caregiver's name, and I mean that was huge. And then he was sticking on every picture of her in the house. So it was just really, it was interactive and cool. And it seemed so simple, like. Well, would he know that? But that was really big for him. And then like your feedback will reflect like if you are not meeting expectations, like you probably won't be welcome at the farm because we want to be helpful. We don't want to be hurtful. Okay, so before we get started on the bulk of our section, I wanted to go over some quick statistics. I love statistics. So. As of 2014, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention came out with statistics. They do it every couple of years. 1 in every 59 children born are diagnosed with autism or on the autism spectrum disorder. And that's a big increase from 2000. It was 1 in every 150 children. So the prevalence rate is about 1 to 2% in North America, like US, Canada, Asia, and Europe. It's seen across all racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups. So maybe like some people have certain stereotypes of where it's present that's not seen in the research. It is 4 more times common in males than females, and that's something you will see. The farm definitely serves more males than females. Looking at twin studies, so identical twins, if one identical twin has autism, the other one is 36 to 95% likely to also have autism. So this is heavily genetic. Looking at non-identical twins, if one twin has autism, the other one can not have it at all, or up to 31% have it. Autism is comorbid with many things. If someone has a chromosomal or genetic disorder, they're 10% likely to have autism, but it even increases to 83% comorbidity with other disorders such as like psychiatric, developmental, neurological, and we probably know this, as the maternal age actually now they're studying maternal age increases, specifically moms over the age of 35, the risk of autism goes up. As you can see, I'm pregnant, and when you get pregnant, they give you the sheet, and it goes from age like 17 to about 65, and it's like 1 in this, 1 in that, and it goes from like about 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 23. Up to, I mean, a 60-year-old probably don't have baby, but it just gets really, really high maternal terminal age. Okay, some other last minute statistics. It can be diagnosed as young as 2, even though a lot of parents and caregivers report signs as young as 6 months with like fine motor control, kind of like connectiveness or looking, engaging with their caregivers, but it's usually diagnosed by age 4. Despite what people may think about autism, 44, so about almost half of the people with autism have a normal IQ or intelligent quotient. Something I learned was, I did say it's 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with autism, but the rate here is higher in Western North Carolina, and we don't really know why. Something Aaron talked about on Saturday. So therefore, Full Spectrum Farms is really trying to bulk up their volunteers each year. They're trying to get more volunteers, they're trying to raise more money to serve these families in the community. And I'll pass it off to Mason.
Okay, 1 second. And, this one. Okay, so just to kind of touch on one statistic really quickly, just to kind of clear up and kind of smash some misconceptions here. This statistic specifically, 1 in 59 in every 59 children are diagnosed with autism. This statistic also often leads to the misconception that it's becoming more prevalent, right? But I just wanted you all to keep in mind that it's a lot of researchers suggest that we're becoming better at diagnosing autism. So it's really not becoming more and more prevalent with, what all these myths are with vaccines and all that stuff. It's really not. It's just becoming easier to diagnose, is what a lot of researchers would argue. So just wanted to clear that up. So first, I want to talk to you guys about an umbrella sort of term called neurodiversity and neurotypicality. Who here has ever heard of that term? Cool. Okay, so neurodiversity is this umbrella term that encompasses individuals with neurological conditions such as autism, such as ADHD. It also falls into that umbrella. And it's the general concept that we want to stop normalizing what it means to be typical. So a person with autism, it's just another type of diversity. We want to respect it as we respect racial diversity. We want to respect it as we respect sexual diversity. It's just another, umbrella term that we want to respect as a piece of diversity. And people without those neurological conditions are, of course, referred to as neurotypicals. And if you look on your guided notes, there is a book that I tried to list there. It's pretty much a staple in this topic. It's called Neurotribes, and it's a really great book for this whole discussion. There's a great proponent of this sort of model that lives in Asheville, and he's really great. So, what's his name? If you come to me after, I'll tell you.
Yeah, you can do it. I'll move.
Okay. So secondly, you've all heard of the spectrum, right? So what does it mean to be on the spectrum? Does anyone want to try to explain that?